This is a battle in the Aggony 1v1 championship. Round 2, Axebrother versus Deve, I think his name was. The Kingdom of Asturias versus the Kingdom of Charlemagne. We haven't seen the Kingdom of Asturias much, and for good reason, but I would be really happy if the Kingdom of Asturias worked in this particular battle. An interesting army, tribesmen, 3 tribesmen on each side. They do have javelins, but only 2. Then we have levy skirmishers with 5 javelins. In the center we have 4 armored swords, 1 upgrade, Iberian cavalry, Royal Guard cavalry, Jinetes, Raider cavalry. This is a javelin, very javelin centric army. It's going to be hard for the cavalry of the Kingdom of Charlemagne to survive this. The Kingdom of Charlemagne bringing Frankish cav, Scout cav, Schola cav, Frankish cav, and Frankish cav. 1 Frankish spear, skirmishers, a total of 4 levy archers, a center of mounted swords and swords. So if the javelins of Asturias can kill the cavalry of Charlemagne, then these armored swords have a chance. They are a decent unit. However, it's going to be hard for the Kingdom of Charlemagne to use its cavalry effectively, because aside from these armored swords, every single unit has javelins in the Kingdom of Asturias' army. So these flanks are very hard to approach by cavalry. However, if these Frankish spears go in and hold the tribesmen, if they are able to eat javelins, preferably in spear wall, then these Frankish cav units could clean house with the on the skirmishers. But it's very it's hard for both players here actually, because the micro can get very intensive when you have this many short-range skirmishers, and the cav micro can be very intensive as well when you're trying to avoid the same amount of skirmishers. So hanging back, the best bet for the Kingdom of Charlemagne would be to use these archers for all they are worth, either by heavy shotting the armored swords or by focusing on the skirmishers and picking them off. But it's going to be challenging. But patience is the name of the game when you have the advantage in ranged skirmish. You don't need to close aggressively when you have the advantage in skirmishers. You need time. So the Frankish spears are moving up here to screen away the tribesmen and the levy skirmishers. They are wisely, this is what I'm talking about with the micro, they're just running past here. But the Frankish spears, they should really be in spear wall now. Still, they are wasting the ammunition, these tribesmen and the levy skirmishers. It would just be even better if the Frankish spears were in defensive formation, because it would increase their missile block and they would waste even more ammunition. Over here we're getting some engagements, very weird engagements. The ambushers into the Frankish spears. The ambushers actually have 5 ammunition, actually throwing them while they are engaged here, so this is a very strange engagement. And look at this, the Schola cavalry is parking right in front of the levy skirmishers. This is what I'm talking about with the micro. They're getting hammered, absolutely hammered here. Quick, rapid advance, tribesmen into the Schola cav. The Schola cav is getting absolutely destroyed. Very hard to use the cavalry against an army like this. And here come the Raider cav, throwing their javelins into the Frankish cav. So far the Frankish cavalry is taking a beating, but here the Raider cav got smashed by the Frankish cav. Well, look at these swordsmen here, getting destroyed. Asturias has used a lot of its available javelins. Frankish cav getting into the back here of the tribesmen. Very lightly armored, the tribesmen, but they do have a nice charge bonus. And the Frankish cavalry isn't going to like this engagement too much, especially since there are always these javelin units around available to throw in some volleys against them.
Enemy units have been rallied.
The Frankish general Guards General fighting up against the ambushers here, doing well. But on the flanks, the Frankish cavalry is not getting good engagements. There are too many javelins, too many spears. The shield walls haven't engaged yet. The levy archers, flaming shot, doing a lot of damage to the Raider Cav. I'm not sure chasing off the Raider Cav is the best idea with Frankish Cav, but when they're out of ammunition, of course, you could do it. Very wide front in this battle. So the guardsmen are cleaning up these tribesmen. The tribesmen have gotten some nice kills on them. The skirmishers here out of ammunition didn't get too many kills. The tribesmen about to get rear charged here by the Frankish spears. See if they can survive that. Flaming and a rear charge could be enough to break them. And broken. Broken they are.
The men are broken and running for their lives.
Here the Frankish cav gets surrounded by the Genitates. The Genitates only have daggers in melee.
The enemy general is dead.
Oh, that's it for the Frankish general there. He is a goner. And now things get really interesting, because the Franks have had to use a lot of their infantry in these cavalry engagements, whereas the infantry, the mainline infantry of Asturias, is only now moving in. And they've basically been unmolested for the entire battle, moving up in shield wall. So this is not looking good for the Franks at all. The last unit of Frankish cavalry is getting killed. And now the Franks are outmatched both in cavalry and in infantry. So at the beginning of the battle I said I would be really happy to see this Asturias army work, because it's a very pure Asturias army with a sword mainline and a lot of javelins. And in this case it certainly has worked. So let me just fast forward until engagements start here. Because the Franks are pulling back, running after a few units here. But the mounted swords are going to get charged by the Iberian cav. And the Iberian cav are getting so many kills here. The mounted swords getting smashed by both tribes and Iberian cav. Here we're starting to see us around. Look at the shield wall here. This is actually very smart, going back to back like this. And once again, let me just get a screenshot of this, because this is quite the epic ending to the battle. So the armored swords moving up. If this was Attila, Spaghetti would... Attila pre-patch anyway, Spaghetti would be the way to engage here, but in these dense formations, you can't really Spaghetti and expect to come out on top there. There are just so... I mean, these units are probably going to break due to balance of power, or the mounted swords. Multiple units moving in the shield wall and engaging.
The enemy are losing their advantage.
Very nice ending to this battle. The Raider cav charging in. I'm not sure they're going to be killing anything here. Doesn't seem like it. These shield wall on shield wall engagements are a slow affair. Let's get a few screenshots here, because this is quite nice. holding out for a long time are these. This is what I'm talking about with the Franks having sturdy infantry. Engaged by multiple units. Charged by very light skirmish camp. And these mounted swords are still holding. Even though they are losing decisively, the general is dead. But now they're wavering. Balance of power. And off the field they go. One of the best battles I've seen with the Kingdom of Asturias. Very nicely done, deve. The kills on the Iberian Cav are astounding. 202 kills on an Iberian Cav is very good. And these tribesmen were used exceptionally well. It was a hard matchup for the Kingdom of Charlemagne in this particular case. The Schola cavalry were tempted to engage too early and got hammered by the javelins. I mean, I think Axebrother would really have needed to pull out, go for, I mean, the Frankish spears did take a lot of javelins there, which was good. However, putting them in spear wall would have meant they could have taken even more javelins, and continually pulling back with the levy archers. I think that would have been a very smart move. Now just a balanced nice army. Let's count the amount of javelin units here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So a total of 15 units that have javelins in some form or other from the Kingdom of Asturias. That's going to kill some cavalry. Strength and honor.